What's going on, YouTube? In this dosage, a woman takes to TikTok to explain why she doesn't accept coffee dates, which elicits a negative response from Black American men and causes her to make a second video explaining why she doesn't date Black American men. Let's get a dose of this shit.
So I do not accept coffee dates from men, and I just want to talk about it. I do just want to say that my reasons are just that, my own, so don't get under my comment section upset or in your feelings. So why don't I accept coffee dates? Well, besides the fact that I'm really not much of a coffee drinker, I find that coffee dates are low effort, they are cheap, and they are the biggest waste of time, honestly. So when I go on dates, I truly do like to look my best because I do believe that first impressions matter. So I really do put a lot of effort into my look, and I find that putting effort into my appearance for $5 bean juice is a waste of time.
Okay, so let's just decipher the first couple reasons that she says she doesn't do coffee dates. With number one, and should be the only one, is that she's not much of a coffee drinker. This would make sense, and that would be the only acceptable excuse in my book if I was to offer this woman a coffee date and she rejected it because she simply doesn't like coffee. Then she proceeds to try to rationalize these other reasons as to why she doesn't want to go on a coffee date. They're low effort and cheap. First of all, any man who makes an effort to take you out on a date, that should be appreciated, that should be valued, because of all the men that you wish approached you and they didn't approach you, this one did, and he came to you with something intimate and something that you refer to as cheap, but it allows you an opportunity to actually get have some conversation, get to know each other, maybe crack a couple laughs, and enjoy a nice little drink. And then if you want to do more after that, you can do more after that. The coffee date itself doesn't have to be the only date in that day that you guys go on. It could be a startup, and it could result in you doing something that you two find even more appeasing, but it's cheap and low effort. And this is the issue that I have with these women, because don't get me wrong, these women are entitled to not want to go on a date at whatever location in whichever setting they do not want to go on, but then they will turn around and say that they can't find a man, or that the men that approach them and that they give chances are dumb, superficial, they're shallow, they don't have no substance, they're not good at communicating, they're not interesting. And you'll often find that settings that men like to go reflect the level of depth that they have, or reflect the amount of intimacy that they're seeking, the amount of companionship that they're seeking. You know how many women have said that they went on coffee dates? There were a lot of women in this comment section, in her comment section, that said they went on coffee dates, and some of them got married and have been in 14 and 15-year relationships. Some of them are in relationships. I posted a video a little while ago of the two TikTok creators, I believe Gabby and the 6ix9ine dude. Their first date was a coffee date, and now they're in a relationship and they seem to be enjoying one another. So it's ridiculous that she conflates coffee dates with being low effort and cheap, and that is somehow supposed to reflect the quality of the relationship and what the relationship will be in the future. That's extremely erroneous thinking on a woman's behalf. And then she proceeds to say she likes to dress up. Women like to fucking dress up anyway. They dress up when they're not going on a date. Women dress up to go to the store. Women play in makeup just to sit in the house. They will literally dress up, doll themselves up, and sit in the house doing nothing. No plans to go anywhere. But she uses her not being able to dress up because it's a coffee date as an excuse. No, you can absolutely get dialed up. And if you like the guy, then you're going to want to look your best regardless of where you're going. You're going to want to look your best. So even if it's just a coffee date, I think you would dial yourself up because you want to leave a positive first impression. You want that guy to be attracted to you. You want to feel as confident as you possibly can, because we know women don't feel confident without makeup.
When you ask a man, why do you like to take women out for coffee dates, they will give you a bunch of reasons, and I'm just here to tell you that they will never tell you the true reason as to why they ask women out on coffee dates. They're going to lie to you. They are going to guilt trip you by asking if you need free food, if that's why you're asking for him to take you on a proper date? Do you need free food? Are you hungry? And it's really just because they want the woman to be able to prove that she is worth a proper meal.
They'll lie to you. They'll guilt trip you and say, do you just want free food? They just want the woman to prove that they're worth a meal. I don't entirely disagree with that. But my question is, the fuck is wrong with that? I don't know you. Why would I invest so much money into planning some extravagant date just for you to end up not liking me, or for us to think that we're not compatible or there to be no chemistry? I just wasted money. When the best relationships are built on intimate foundations, they're built on emotional connections, they're built on a genuine desire to get to know one another and to sleep with one another. If you need an extravagant date, that's going to raise a red flag to me that you're after my money, you're after my resources, that you're actually the superficial and the shallow one. But it's not as negative as she's painting it out to be. It doesn't have to be that you proving yourself to him is a bad thing. You're both proving yourselves to one another. You're trying to create attraction. You're trying to see if there's a spark there, if this could potentially become something that you both want ultimately. Not to mention, if you actually do end up in a relationship or a marriage with someone, is every date y'all go on going to be some extravagant bonanza? No, it's not. There'll be times where you guys just want to stop and get coffee. There'll be times where you guys want to get Wendy's or McDonald's or Subway. So I believe oftentimes the way the relationship is going to be when you're comfortable is the bar you should try to set in the beginning. Because if you take a woman on a first date, that might be the standard she holds. If you take her on a first date to Ruth Chris or some affluent restaurant that's extremely expensive, McCormick and Schmick's, something like that, you might be setting the precedent of what she's expecting in that relationship, as long as you guys are in the infatuation stage. And you don't want to set that precedent. You don't want a woman looking at you every time she wants something to eat and expecting y'all to go to some 5-star restaurant so that she feels satisfied, so that she feels genuinely courted, so that she feels like she's the prize. That's not what you want to do. Because the relationship is not going to always be that. And in any healthy relationship, you build yourself up to that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a man starting off small. As he gradually starts to like her and value her and appreciate her more, he starts to do things that reflect that level, that increase in value and appreciation and commitment that he has for her. That's like expecting a ring proposal when you first meet a guy, instead of him warming up to you and trying to figure out if you're actually worth the ring. So I think this is a faulty way of thinking on a woman's behalf, that a guy is supposed to go all out in the beginning, because then that becomes the standard, or he could fall off, or he just wasted his money and you guys don't work out. But this is why these women be single. This is why they keep themselves single. They sabotage with their attitudes about how they should be courted, how they should be dated, how they should be approached, what type of dates they should be offered. They sabotage every time they set the bar higher than what most men are willing to give. And she's not an ugly girl. So I'm sure there are men who would acquiesce to her dating standards, but ultimately those relationships can still fail, because it's not going to be indicative that the relationship is going to be anything successful or healthy or have longevity.
Don't care about what reasons they tell you. Oh, why does the price matter? It's about connection. You should only be focused. No, they don't believe in that. They really just want you to prove that you are worth a dinner, that you are worth a lunch. And with that information,
it can be both at the same time. It can be, I want you to prove that you're worth a dinner or a lunch. I'm not saying that that's the case, because it typically isn't with me. I've been on plenty of little intimate first dates at small places that cost no more than $25, $30 at the most for both me and my date. I do want the genuine connection. I do want to laugh. I do want to flirt. I do want to see what you're about. Just have some little humorous conversation, snicker here. And like I said, if we enjoy each other's little date there, we can go do something else afterwards. That doesn't have to be where it ends in that day or on that specific date. We can make another date. We can go ride go-karts after. We can go to the pier after. We can go get food later if we've spent that day together, if that coffee date or that ice cream date has went well. She just wants to talk down on men. That's what this is.
With that knowledge, it's honestly disrespectful for a man to ever propose to me a coffee date. I wouldn't even go.
And that's the faulty logic. It's disrespectful for a man to propose a coffee date to me. She sees that as disrespect. Can you guys see how pernicious that perspective is? A coffee date proposal is disrespect. A date proposal is disrespect. A guy expressing his interest in you is disrespectful by virtue of where he wants to take you on said interest.
On a coffee date with my friends. My friend knows better not to ask me to have coffee with her. And I know better not to ask my friends that either, because they're going to feel the same exact way. If we are going to get coffee, it's going to be on our way to the restaurant or on our way back from the restaurant. So I met a girl in class last semester who told me that she showed up to her coffee date in a bonnet, oversized sweatsuit, those black Adidas pool slides, and mixed match socks. Because she told me that whenever she was going to get coffee, she was looking like who did it and why. So she showed up to the date exactly like that. And the guy that she met up with was so upset. That's honestly why
And he should have been upset. Because as I just pointed out in the beginning of this video, women will put on makeup and dial themselves up to do absolutely nothing. And she was being petty by dressing up like that, trying to passive aggressively imply that because she believed that the coffee date was low effort, she's going to dress low effort. And then it's funny because women will say that they don't dress up for men, but she dressed down in this case to go on a date with a man that she accepted a date from and apparently, I would believe, would have been attracted to. But she wanted to be petty and passive aggressive and essentially spiteful by dressing down. So he should have been upset. He should have made her pay for her own coffee since it's such low effort. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how women become adversarial to men from the jump in dating. They become adversarial to men from the jump. A man is genuinely trying to get to know you, whether it's a coffee date or whether it's, you know, like I said, Ruth Chris, some affluent restaurant. He's trying to get to genuinely know you because he has sexual interest in you and he has romantic interest in you. And as a woman, you should appreciate that regardless, because that man is going out of his way either way. No matter how disrespectful or low effort you think it is, he's going out of his way to make an effort to show you that he wants to start something with you. Whether it's just sex, situationship, or actually looking for a relationship and marriage down the road. He's still expressing sexual interest and he's willing to put in some degree of effort. He doesn't have to be the cream of the crop in what he offers you. He doesn't fucking know you. He doesn't know you. But this is the entitled attitude that these women now have. And they wonder why they're single and can't find a man. They'll be the same ones online complaining that all the good men have gone somewhere. No, the good men ask women out on coffee dates, and the women with depth and substance accept coffee dates because they understand that you can go on a bigger date later. Let's establish a foundation first. Let's figure out what your name is, how old you are, what you like. Do you find me funny? Or are you sexually attracted to me? Do our personalities mesh? Let's try to establish that shit first before we get into all these extravagant restaurants and vacations and etc. that y'all be expecting, that you ladies be expecting out the gate. Let's warm up to those things first.
I don't believe men when they say that a date is only focused solely on connection and that all the other stuff doesn't matter. If that was...
That's her problem. She don't believe men when they say that. If you don't believe a man when he says something, that's on you. Yet again, another form of sabotaging. Yes, men lie. But if a man tells you something and you don't believe him, that's on you. That's you sabotaging. Because what if he is genuine? What if he means exactly what he says and you like him, but you forego the opportunity because you believe that he's lying when he's actually not? And a lot of women do that shit. A lot of women do that shit. They tell themselves that a guy is lying when he's actually not. That's how they fuck themselves over.
The case, the guy wouldn't care about how she looked like on the date. He would just care to get to know her, right? But no, he was expecting her to show up looking all done up. It was only one man.
No, he knew she was being petty. He knew she was being petty. And as a guy, you know a woman likes you if she dresses up for you. You know a woman likes you if she puts an effort to look the best for you. She wants you to be attracted to her. So if a woman dresses down on the first date, not even dresses down, it'd be different if she came in some sweats, you know, minimum makeup, her hair tied, and she just was dressed like a casual occasion. But to come in a bonnet, that's tacky as hell. I don't think there's no man who would expect his date to show up in a bonnet. That's tacky as hell. And that's disrespectful. Because what are you showing up on a date for if you don't want to at least try to make yourself look good for me?
Man who has ever asked me out on a coffee date, and I just ended up blocking him because, like I said, because I know why men truly ask women out on coffee dates, I find it very disrespectful, and I just don't want to deal with that. So you will be blocked.
And she went on to explain that black men came in her comment section coming at her facial features and her Afrocentric appearance and telling her all of these negative things about herself. And on the men's behalf, that's low quality men, but that's the internet. Low quality men are going to do and say things like that they don't agree with when it comes to women because they can't attract women. And I don't know what it is when it comes to men trying to tell these women shit on the internet. These women aren't checking for y'all. Y'all can't go correct these women. Y'all can't go educate these women. I really wish men would stop doing that. But at the end of the day, if this is the leverage that she believes she has to make these demands, then ultimately it's going to come back on her. She will have nobody to blame but herself. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up alone because the guys that she actually seems like a nice girl. She seems like a tender-hearted girl who has her head on straight, and she seems genuine. So I don't necessarily have the biggest issue with her not wanting to do coffee dates as the first date. My issue is, does she see how this will come back to bite her in her ass? And will she be complaining about the fact that she can't find a man because one of her standards is she doesn't do something like a coffee date because she sees it as cheap, low effort, and disrespectful? And that's simply a sabotaging ass mentality to have when you're trying to be in a relationship with somebody, when you want to be in a relationship with somebody, because you have no idea how you're selling yourself short simply because you don't want to do a specific date and you think that it's low effort, disrespectful, and cheap. These women have nobody to blame but themselves when they don't get the dating outcomes that they want based on the criteria that they set that men must meet in order to date them. It's dumb as hell, and the younger they are, the more foolish they are, and the more leverage they have, so they can exercise that right. But they'll be the same ones crying when they realize that it comes back to bite them in the ass in the future. And I'll be waiting for when she can't find a man, because she appears to be single now, and I guarantee with the way she talks and the way she acts, she behaves, she's either going to end up with a guy who she doesn't mesh well with or nobody. I'll catch you guys on the next dosage. Over and out.